Hi, I'm John Treese Wells,
Hi, I'm Erica Fernandez.
and welcome back
Welcome back
to Beyond Legacy.
Beyond Legacy.
Yes, if this is your first time joining us, thank you for clicking on the
Thank you.
video and being a part of our conversation. But if you've been with us before, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Awesome. So I'm just going to start off by saying like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button because I mean,
Right.
we are on episode 6.
6.
It is going by so fast, and we're learning a lot. But we want you to go back and look at some of the other episodes. And
Yes.
this episode is a continuation of the episode before, or the last episode of unexpectedness.
Unexpectedness.
And how you show up in the unexpectedness. I don't know if that's a word, but I just used it.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Okay.
Erica, you kind of dealt with just the unexpected death, and I've dealt with the unexpected caught a case, and that's what I'm calling it right now. Unexpected caught a case.
Yes.
So, I mean, how do we show up in that? We talked about the resources, right? We kind of alluded to when you are dealing with something unexpectedly and you are the resource, right? How do you show up in that, and how do you relinquish what you're feeling to someone else, to your community, to
Right.
whatever, when you have to be the resource?
Yeah, I think it's difficult because sometimes when these things happen, sometimes you're the resource because it's not directly affecting you, and so you could manage through being the resource and help and navigate through. Your emotions aren't high, and you could do that. And sometimes your emotions are so high, it does two things. It distracts you and gets you doing stuff so you don't sit and wallow in your issues. The other part is like, but what do I do, and and everything has to come to mind as to what you do, what's next to do. And in this case with my nephew, I needed to be there for support from my sister. Yet, I was going through it too, because it's not like we're a distant family,
Right,
we're
right,
a close
right.
family, and so that hurt was my hurt, but a different hurt, right? But the resource of when it first happened, what do I do? Who do I call? It was even, do I call a coroner right now? Who comes get the body? Do you guys know what to do? As soon as someone expires, yes, if you're an expert, and I feel but the average person, as soon as someone expires, who do you call?
Yeah.
What is the next step? Because when the hospital staff don't know what happened, you don't know what happened, they're just going to give you the routine thing. But do you know what the next steps are? And so it was like, yes, the coroner's going to come get the body. Yes. Do you know how long they're going to keep it? Got to release the body. All these things
Yeah.
of knowledge, what you need to know. My sister says, you should write a book because I don't know what I was doing, that I don't know what to do. And so the resource of just knowing, I've been through many services and helping out in the background. But when it hits home, it is quite different. And you talk about the resources of that. And so that's kind of, I pulled from my resources I knew. And then the other port is the resource of support.
Yeah. Who was that for you?
I had my daughter, I had my brothers, they were there and they were reaching out and calling and checking in and making sure, giving my sister the time to grieve and to process things, and then funneling things to us and just trying to wrap our minds around the whole thing. But they were a resource to allow me to cry, and then at the same time give me the time to help walk through what was needed to get done. And believe me, it was not a question of whether or not they would be here for
Right.
us.
Absolutely.
That's the other part. Who will be there? They were right. Nope, we're coming. We're going to be there. One of my brothers had just left, so it was like, come back, because it was unexpected,
Yeah.
And so it is knowing what your resources and who in your community you could call, cry, ask for help, and then figure out what to do, walk in it, and those emotions are like this
Oh, yeah.
in the first days,
Oh,
right?
yeah. I mean,
Same for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm going to touch on something you said where you talked about, writing a book. In our industry, we have companies that
Right.
take on that weight of
Yeah, we
dealing
do.
with the funeral,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so, but you being so close, now you can kind of really see the importance of having because you're not in your right
You're
headspace,
not.
right? You are mourning, you are sad, you are all of these
You're
things.
shocked,
You're in shock,
right?
you know, so you're angry, you're all of
Right.
these things, right?
All
So
of those
being able
things.
to have someone who is not attached to it and say, hey, okay, this is what we need to pick today. We need to pick the casket. Can you pick the casket today? And you go, I don't know. Okay,
Right.
yeah, that one.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and that's what you
Yeah.
kind of need. And so yeah, writing a book and in our industry, in our sphere of professionalism, is that we have companies that take on those roles, and
Yeah,
that
that
is a
concierge
resource.
service is really needed, and the individuals that don't have that and have to walk through that, then they really, it's a lot, it's overwhelming.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
to know you have that, and we offer the service for that, it's a great thing. But
Yeah.
you know, just knowing resources and having resources in a time of need when the unexpected happens,
Yeah.
in whatever aspect, like we talked about last time. If your plumbing was to start flooding,
Right.
do you know who you could call right now today? Or do you know what to do
Right.
right now today? Go turn the water off at the main? Do you know where the main is? Do you know what that is? I have to learn it, but
Me
all of those
too.
things, you know, the turn off this or turn off that. What do you need to do?
And it's
so
so
what's the next
funny.
step?
I've experienced. So I was on my way back from a vacation. My parents were staying at my house, and my mom called me and said there's a flood. And your immediate emotion is like, God doggone it, I don't even know. And
Right.
you're frustrated, you're upset, you're
Right.
all of these things, and then you're like, okay, then what's next, right? Okay, call the homeowners insurance, call these people, figure out
You
who
need
you're gonna
a
use,
person. Is there a
contact
24-hour
them.
person? You got to know. And
Yeah.
so one of the things from these two episodes, if you're not doing it today, you should think about putting together that resource
Yeah.
book and make it accessible for whomever is in your family that you would have to deal with,
Right.
or that someone may call you. Well, here's who I would call if you're in the same city. If you're not in the same city,
Right.
then here's the type of person I will call in this situation. Just think about that. Like in your case, when
Yeah.
you say unexpectedly caught a case, what was the first thing you had to go through?
Man, so as the last episode, I mentioned that I was served a search warrant in my home, and the first person that I reached out to was my father. You know, he's an ex-cop. As a single woman, you know, you think daddy's gonna take care of it all, right? Like, call my daddy, I don't know. So call my daddy, daddy, what is this? And so he had to kind of initially walk me through that. But at the end of the day, I think I mentioned he's not the one who caught the case.
No.
I was the one that caught the case and that had to walk through what this looked like. And, you know, we talk about, if you guys hear beeping, we are in a studio and they're doing some work on the outside. But we have to talk
Yes.
about the resources, you know, what do you do? And even though I have my family and we're talking through this
Right.
and we are
Yes. Yes.
walking through this, and you have different dynamics, right? So someone may say, oh yeah, go and do this. And the other person may say, hey, you might want to research this. And so I had different people in my family telling me different things. And so doing the research of figuring out, okay, what's my next move?
Yeah.
Do I do this? And so after doing some of the research and going, oh, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't say this. I shouldn't be here.
That's the
And-
part.
And you're
It's
like,
one thing to be a death situation. The legal side of things is a whole different ball game. And just because if you're not used to being on that side of the law, you don't know what to do. You think that you're innocent until
Right.
proven guilty, but
But what we recognize is that the law is not intended, and depending on what side,
Right.
depending
Right,
on your
right.
community, depending on your color, and unfortunately, I have to say this because I knew that the law or the people were not looking at me as innocent. They were looking at me as you were a part of this criminal activity. And so I was very scared, even though I knew I was innocent. I knew that that's not how they saw me.
Right.
And I think about so many people who catches a case and are in jail and are serving time that are innocent, but because they didn't have the resources, who did they
Yes.
call? I'm
Yes.
so grateful to God that we have built a network,
Yes.
and we have built
Yes.
a community that I didn't talk to this person on a daily basis. I didn't talk to them on a monthly basis. It was, I knew that you did this. I knew that you were a lawyer, and I had to humble myself. I was
That
embarrassed.
part.
I didn't have the resources to pay you. I didn't have the wherewithal to know how did I get involved in this, and I just knew I didn't want to go to jail.
Okay.
Right.
That part.
I didn't belong in jail.
Right.
So,
Right.
and I knew that I was innocent. I knew that I was innocent. So as I talked to my mom and just kind of getting her feelings and where she was at, she talked about, okay, did I have the money to bail you out, or did we collectively have the money to bail you out?
Right.
That required resources. What about my daughter? Like, she was like, who's going to take care of your daughter? Did I need to move into the house? Did she need to move in with me? What were your wishes?
All of these things
what
going
were your
through.
wishes that you wanted? Because it wasn't that she was going to just take over. She was really like, what did you want to happen?
Yeah.
And so it was like, wow. And she goes, we just had to be prepared for anything.
Yes. Some of the times it's like people think it's morbid talking about all these things, but preparation, it's so key. So she asking you, I want to know what you would have wanted, because I want to do what you would have wanted.
Right.
And do you, as an audience, know what you want in any situation? Should anything happen?
And here's the other
Anything
thing.
happen.
I would have never thought that I would have caught a case. This was not a conversation that anybody felt like we needed to have.
Right.
Bail money?
Right.
Are you serious? Like,
But the reality is, you may not have thought you had a case and thought you need resources, but guess what dictates those things you want?
Correct.
Your trust.
Yeah.
Your trust would say, here's how I want
Yeah.
my life carried out.
Right.
Here's who I want in control of everything. Of course, that's a resource.
Yeah.
You need to have a resource to put down your wishes for anything should happen to your life. You lose cognizance of anything. What do you want to happen? And so that's a great question, both sides. So now, even with my nephew, laying down what he wanted, right, and knowing what he wanted, help you walk in peace about delivering that in which they wanted, because you know what's carried out. And so the trust does that, writing down your will, all of those things. Those are resources we have available for you in case you want to actually walk through the legacy of what would life be like without me. How do I want to proceed?
That's so good, Erica, because as I had multiple conversations just outside of this unexpected caught a case, but your trust, it's not just for when you're no longer here.
No,
It
it's
is
not.
for when the unexpected
Happens.
That's why you have insurance.
That's why
get
you
insurance on your phone. You get insurance on your cars. You get insurance on your homes. You get insurance on everything.
Everything.
And that's why you need insurance on you as well. And that trust allows the insurance of your life, of what your wishes are and
Right.
what you desire.
And it gives someone authority to make the decisions you wanted, instead of allowing authorities to make decisions for you.
they
In
will.
the catch a case part, they're going to make a decision for you had you not reached out to a resource that can help you navigate through that part, so that, it sounds like catch a case, if you'd have showed up without the resource, because anything gonna happen, because as you talked about, the law's not necessarily on our side. But you got to reach out to a resource that'll help you navigate through that. Had you showed up and not gone through the resource, We don't know what the
and,
story will
and
look like today,
right, and
correct?
done the research, and because we know that so many times it doesn't happen this way. It
Right,
doesn't end this way. It
right,
ends in something
right.
totally different. And so, again, we are here to create a community of resources.
Yes.
So if you have something that you want to offer the community of Beyond Legacy, and if
Mhm.
you have a skill or any kind of expertise, legal,
Yes.
writing,
Writing.
contracting,
Yes.
any kind of expertise that you want to lend to those people who don't have the resources
That
potentially.
part. Yeah.
I literally did not have the financial bearings to pay a lawyer. I did not. And so I was really holding on to my faith, to my family, and to my network to say,
Yeah.
listen. And I was honest. I had to lay down my pride. I had
Mhm.
to lay down my ego.
Yes.
I had to lay down my shame. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean the shame wasn't there. I just had to put it aside for a moment and say, this is what I have.
Yeah.
And grateful to God that all things work together.
Yeah. These are crucial conversations now that you've started with your mom,
Mm-hmm.
started with your daughter. Now it's about completing them. And so do those same things. Have crucial conversation with the important people in your life so they know what you want. They know what you have. And it's not about, I don't have nothing.
Yeah.
It's about what happens because we talk about your impact never dies.
Yeah.
This is the case. My nephew's impact will never die.
Nope.
He has such an impact on his friends and everything, it won't die. Yet we carried out what he wanted for his funeral service, even though he didn't want to die.
Right.
We carried out that in which we knew who he was and left with a legacy to carry it further.
Yeah.
Are you doing that for you and your community?
Yeah.
Are you doing that within your own family? That's what we're here to do, to help facilitate that, walk through that, help you to see it's not just about you.
Your impact never dies.
Never dies.
So thank you for being on this
Yes.
journey, Erica, as we continue to navigate our emotions and feelings and just the impact of unexpected situations. It's not going to be the last time
right.
an unexpected
Right.
situation happens, but because we've been in community with one another, we were able to lean on one another. We were able to understand
Yeah.
each other's tears. Even though our situations were completely different,
Mhm.
we were in complete tears as we navigated through it. So we were
Right.
able to understand
Right.
each other's tears and just encourage one another through it. So I appreciate you,
Yes,
sister.
appreciate you. And
So,
we challenge
yes.
you the same, to
Yes.
do the same and be the same. Show up for someone. And when you are the resource, know that you are and that you can walk through it and help another person do what's necessary in time of need.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
Yeah.
don't forget to share. Don't forget
Share.
to like. Don't forget to subscribe.
Yes.
And hit the notification bell. All of our social media handles are here, and we love you guys. See you next time.
Yes.